3.4 ratios and proportions. So we're going to compare relative sizes using ratios, find the unit price of a common item, and solve proportions that equate to 2 ratios. So for this lesson, I'm using example 5, A and B. So they gave us 50 divided by x is equivalent to 2 over 28. When you come to something like this, we're going to apply stuff from the previous lessons with least common denominators. So when I look at my denominators, I have a 28 and an x, so your LCD in this instance is going to be 28x. You're multiplying both sides by that value. When you get to this situation, we notice that they both share an x, so the x's are going to cancel. They both share a 28, so the 28's cancel. So then we're going to do 28 times 50, which is 1400, equivalent to 2 times my x is 2x. And then you finish your problem by dividing both sides by the value of 2, so x equals 700. On B, we're going to do the same thing. So our denominators are 5 and 3. So in this instance, your LCD is 15. So you're going to multiply both sides by 15. And then we notice that 5 goes into 15 3 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. So we see 3 times the parentheses x minus 2 is equivalent to 4 times our 5. So we're going to do the distributive property. So we get 3x minus 6 is equivalent to 4 times 5, which is 20. We are adding our 6 over. So you get 3x is equivalent to 26. And then divide both sides by 3. So we result in x equals 26 over 3. In example 7, they say you are driving from New York to Phoenix, a trip of 2,450 miles. You begin the trip with a full tank of gas, and after traveling 424 miles, you refill the tank for $58. Assuming gas prices will be the same for the duration of your trip, how much should you plan to spend on your gasoline for the entire trip? So for this thing, we're going to create a verbal model. So the first thing is going to be the cost of the total trip. Divided by the cost of one tank. It's going to be equivalent to the miles for the entire trip divided by the miles for one tank. So I'm going to mark some specific information. They told us that the trip is 2,450 miles. You begin with a full tank of gas, and after traveling 424 miles, you have to refill it for 58. So it says, assuming gas prices will be the same for the duration of your trip, how much should you plan to spend on gasoline for the entire trip? So we know, let's look at what we know. The cost of one trip, cost of gas for the entire trip, we do not know. That's going to be our x. The cost of one tank. They told you that after you travel 424 miles, you had to refill the tank, so it cost us $58. The miles for the trip. They told us the trip from New York to Phoenix was going to be 2,450 miles. And one tank, the mileage on that was 424. So since we know our values that we're going to use, we're going to substitute in for our pieces. So the cost of the entire trip we don't know. That's going to be our x over the cost of one tank is 58. That's equivalent to the entire trip, which is 2,450, over the one tank, which is 424. So in this thing, you can do the product of the means equals the product of the extremes, which means product of the means, these are the means, these are your extremes, or in layman's terms, cross multiply, where we're going to multiply diagonally. So we're going to say 424 times your x is equivalent to 58 times your 2,450. So this is still 424 with an x. Now we're going to do 58 times 2,040, 2,450. So 58 times our 2450. That's 142,100. And then to finish the problem is we're dividing both sides by 424. So we're going to divide our answer by 424, which is $335.14.